When we are talking about self-care with meridian therapies, acupuncture, acupressure, colourpuncture, when we're talking about self-care, we are really talking about acupressure and colourpuncture mostly, because even though you can needle yourself, it's admittedly difficult. And acupressure and especially colourpuncture are beautiful in this sense because it's very easy, it's very accessible, it's equally as effective. So when we're talking about any meridian therapies, we are talking about what is called body points, and those are points based on meridians. This is why it's called meridian therapies within traditional Chinese medicine. And we are talking about microsystems. And microsystem is something that was developed later. And several of the microsystems are really, really recent in development. Microsystem means that we have representation of the entire body on a particular area of the skin, which is small, but it contains all the organs. Classic example would be ear acupuncture or auricular acupuncture. This is probably something that everybody is familiar with. Foot reflexology. Foot reflexology, it could be treated same as auricular, same as other microsystem with acupressure and with colourpuncture. Other microsystem includes nose microsystem and the whole face microsystem. There is a microsystem which was developed specifically for use with colourpuncture and especially with ultraviolet light. Microsystem on the forehead, which represents the reflection of iridology projection. So you can treat iridology projection directly from the skin, from the forehead. This is really unique. It taps into our family tendencies to diseases, to certain psychological or emotional symptoms, and it works on the ancestry level. So if something runs in the family, either this is a bad habit or this is a particular disease, particular character traits, particular tendency, then it could be reached and treated from this level, from the level on the forehead. And this is really, really beautiful. Can't recommend it enough. There is another microsystem on the head, which is called a skull top microsystem. It's basically located within what is called in colourpuncture conflict resolution, upper conflict resolution line. This is the hairline, this is midline of the body, hairline and point opposite hairline, and we have a circle between those 2 points, and this is called skull top microsystem. Within this microsystem, we have projection of all the internal organs and the spine and the joints, everything. So how do we combine microsystem? How do we treat microsystem? How we use microsystem for self-care? Well, obviously, the easiest way to use microsystem for self-care is to just use one microsystem and treat whatever you need, whichever symptoms, particular target area, target organs, organ systems, or particular psychological symptoms from this microsystem. So this is something which is very, very easy to do. So if you are a foot reflexologist or you would like to use foot reflexology projection, for example, on the feet or on the hands, you can translate them on the hands, then you can only use this. If, for example, you use auricular acupuncture or auricular acupressure, and it will be really, really easiest of all for self-care to do it with colourpuncture, because the colourpuncture tool products have some sort of length and it's much easier to reach the points than with your fingers or with anything else, let alone the needles. You can either use one microsystem alone, or you can combine several microsystems. So on this simplest side of the spectrum, we have one microsystem only, and so we reach the entire body, whatever we need to do from this microsystem, using them up. On the opposite side of spectrum, we can combine several microsystems. If you are learning colourpuncture, for example, you know that in colourpuncture, with colourpuncture being integrative therapies, we use a lot of different microsystems, and they could be translated into microsystem further afield, what we didn't cover in the main colourpuncture training. So, for example, you can take one particular organ or system of organs, liver, gallbladder, for example, or you can even take some tiniest part of the body. So, for example, somebody has a problem with tear ducts here on the face. There is no map for it, but you can find this through the microsystems. You can find this particular little tiny organ, and you can reach it from all the microsystem combined. So at some level, if we use all of them, we are bound to resolve the problem, tap to the root of the problem, because we don't know on which level the problem is. So, for example, if problem is on ancestry level, then we only will reach this problem if we use this microsystem. So this is most advanced level of all. And this depends obviously on your level of knowledge of acupuncture or acupressure or colourpuncture, how many microsystems you can realistically use. And if you go on something in between, there is obviously an entire spectrum between using one microsystem and all of them. So the first, the easiest step will be to combine just one microsystem with another microsystem. So just two microsystems. And there are certain other principles of how we create a protocol for self-care. So for example, classic is we need to balance yin and yang energies within one session. All the yang areas of the body, those are areas open to the sun. So this is top of the head, this is back, all the back, this is sides of our arms, side of our legs. All the yin areas are areas which are less open to the sun. So this is front, this is internal arms, internal legs, and the feet. For example, in Colourpuncture, there is a beautiful microsystem, as I mentioned, this microsystem skull top. And from this, we can reach many different things. If, for example, there is a problem with a particular vertebra or a particular joint you would like to address, then you can use this. You can find the joint here, and this is more yang level, and then you can find it there, you can treat it there. So you do massage, and then you can do colourpuncture. So you can use this one first, and then you can use color reflexology protocols. You can use color reflexology projection. You can treat the feet. Again, with massage first, and then with the color. Head first, top of the skull first, left foot, and then right foot. And this way, first we are combining two microsystems. So our chances of reaching the level of a problem, the root of the problem, are increasing. Second, we are balancing yin and yang, which is always good. For any protocol and meridian therapy, this is always good. We always need to strive to use front and back of the body, top and bottom, and so on. So, and obviously we are creating a figure of a triangle. So we are creating a certain energy flow. So this is really, really beautiful, easy to do. Microsystem self-care is excellent for pain. This goes for all the spine problems. This goes for joint problems anywhere in the body. And so if you use this on a regular basis, it does not have to be long. It will take probably 5 minutes overall. But if treated on a long-term basis, that can really make a huge difference, especially in situations of chronic diseases or degenerative diseases, which is very often the case with joint problems, with back problems. Very, very often the key to your treatment is long-term, very little, but very often, every day, tiny little bit of self-care. And this is easy to learn, this is easy to do. If you took the entire professional training, then you know that in advanced training of colourpuncture, we have this topography, so you can use your map. And you can use your foot reflexology map to locate a particular joint or you locate a particular vertebra. If you're totally new and you want to learn it for self-care, then you can take short workshop, which is aimed for self-care. This is only about 2.5 to 3 hours short workshop called Bones and Joints. And then you can learn this topography. You can learn a bunch of other things, obviously. You can learn a very comprehensive protocol of how to approach joint pain and joint health in general. But you will learn this microsystem. And then in combination with the feet, it's very, very easy, very accessible to do. Alternatively, if you find that feet are difficult to reach, you can then translate feet reflexology into hand reflexology. So this is something that is easy to do, and this is something that is really sustainable, because with all these self-care therapies, all self-care tools in general, they have to be easy, they have to be reasonable in time, they should be easily repeatable for the treatment to be sustainable. So little treatment, little time, targeted at the same thing repeatedly over some days, over some weeks, over some months in some cases, because obviously any joint problem took years, if not decades, to develop. And so we need to allow reasonable time for the problem to start coming back to manageable levels. We've seen cases when people, even with most advanced and most difficult pain conditions of the joint, with regular daily application of colourpuncture and massage, had really, really good results. Any questions, please reach out. I'm happy to answer questions. If you're a student of colourpuncture, we can have a short consultation. I will just point you in the right direction. Maybe you learned all this, but you forgot exactly where these treatments are located, which I'm mentioning here. If you would like to learn Colopuncture for self-care, please also reach out and we can discuss if this is a choice which is good for you. But basically, I've seen great results if somebody takes Colopuncture self-care plus a little massage and it's used daily for some time, on a very, very short time a day. This is beautiful. This is the best of self-care.